Ik ben Odessa van Mixfight and I'm here with Tiffany van Soest, the time bomb. And she had a really tough training here with Lucien Carbin and taking the time for us to answer some questions. So the first question, can you tell us what your special bond with your grandfather is in Amsterdam? Because there's something, depends, I don't think everybody knows.
Yeah, so my oma, my grandmother, she was from The Hague and then lived in Amsterdam. My opa, he's originally from Semarang in Java, Indonesia, and immigrated here to Holland to go to art school to escape the war. He met my oma, they fell in love, and then moved to the United States, and where they had my father, and then the rest is history. So that's how I ended up born in California, an American, but with Dutch roots.
Yeah, and you also learned a lot from your grandfather about the Dutch culture and something about the Indonesian culture. I read something. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I learned pretty much everything I know about Dutch culture from my oma. I mean, from when I was young, she would speak to me in Dutch and sing to me in Dutch. And but because she married my opa, who's Indonesian, she had to learn how to cook Indonesian cuisine, Indonesian food. So as far as like the tulips and the windmills and the kroket and broodjes and stuff like that, that's all from my oma, and then all of my Indonesian is from my opa.
And do you like the combination of your Dutch heritage and the American heritage?
Yeah, I don't think I had a choice. You know, like I'm just born. But I think it's a great combination. You know, I've met other Dutch Americans. I've met other Dutch Indonesians because of the colonization, and so yeah, I think it's an interesting blend of cultures because they're actually quite different, you know, in their beliefs and their practices and stuff. So it's a good mix, but it's also a good balance.
It's also the reason you ended up here with Lucien Carbin?
I ended up here with Master Lucien. I think fate had a lot to do with it, and I think just being Dutch and knowing my Dutch heritage, I've always been drawn to come to Holland and visit Holland. And after the first couple of times that I was here, I really loved it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the city, and once I found out about Master Lucien, I think stylistically for my fighting ability and also where I was in my career, it was time for a change and time to really make the most of my abilities, and it just so happened that it was a great fit. I feel like a brand new student again, you know, with a new master and a new teacher, and have to fix up a lot of my old bad habits and things, and as well as learning new skills. And you know, it's very humbling. In the beginning it was really hard because you think, oh, I'm a champion and I must be doing all these things right because nobody's able to beat me, you know. But then I come here and there's just average people who train for fun or who aren't champions, and they're just absolute beasts, like killers, and it almost kind of makes me ashamed, you know, like how do so many people get these championship titles with all of these mistakes and these little habits and holes in their game. So coming here has really it's humbled me, and it's made me more hungry to be better because I hate that I have those habits. I hate those little mistakes. They're so simple and things that I shouldn't have been able to get away with them for this long, you know. But I guess better late than never to correct them and continue to improve, because you know, you don't ever want to just stay stagnant. You always want to just continue to improve.
So that's a story about coming here and just sparring. I think you did with the people here, and you realized that there are beasts instead of you being a champion and knocking them all out. So, do you think it's something Dutch because there are many Dutch good kickboxers because it's a fighting habit here?
I don't know what it is about the Dutch, because you know, when you have a conversation, they're just so very friendly, but then like you can see some people get into an altercation, like, oh, do you want to just go outside and make a fight? We can fight, and they're just so like, no problem. But then when they fight, it's like, oh my gosh, they're so vicious and so tough and so mean. And then the fight's over and they're like, how's that? Like back to normal. So I don't know if it's just something in the blood or because like just on the surface, like normal conversation, you don't really get that vibe. But then when it's time to go, it's something just switches and then you get that Dutch fighter coming out.
So you experienced it here. What did you exactly learn from Master Lucien? Because you said some gaps, but what exactly is so different with your training in America and here?
There's more emphasis on protecting yourself and defense. Little things like your hand being down too low, not turning your shoulder enough, not just the little things where you can get away with those types of mistakes with somebody who's not very, very sharp. But with somebody who's fighting at a really high level, they're going to see those little openings, and because they're so good, they're able to take advantage and capitalize on that. So just working a lot more on tightening up, protecting myself more, and then adding more power.
So you practice MMA, Muay Thai, kickbox, and what is your preference? Which discipline are you the strongest in, do you think?
I really like Muay Thai, traditional Muay Thai, because I like the art of throwing elbows as well. With kickboxing, I like that I can utilize boxing a lot more traditional boxing. There's some modifications that have to be made because of the kicks and the stances and things like that. But I like Muay Thai better because of the elbows, but I like kickboxing better because of the boxing. So it's kind of hard to choose.
You had an Invicta contract. You had a debut. You said you want to transfer after you lost your debut. What happened?
I lost my debut. I fought a really advanced wrestler, so it was your classic striker versus grappler match. I ended up getting submitted in the second round, and with me being as competitive as I am, I hated it. I hate losing. A lot of learning, but you know the ego hates to lose. So I had to have another fight and win. So I tried again. I had another fight and I won a decision. MMA was a different challenge. You know, at the time I had thought that maybe because that's where the more money was for women in combat sports, that I needed to go that route and try to get into the UFC and do that whole thing. And around the same time that I had started to work on that transition and get my feet wet in that field, I got my contract and my opportunity with Glory Kickboxing. And I felt that would put me in a better position, and it was a bigger platform for me to showcase my skills and utilize my talents, at which I had already worked pretty much my whole life for, because at that point MMA was only something I had just started doing, and I had done striking and karate and kickboxing for pretty much my whole life up until that point. So it was a pretty easy decision, you know, but as far as the opportunity and the exposure being a little bit better and the pay being a little bit better, I feel like it's plateaued again, and it's still not at a level where the women are getting the same respect as the men. So I'm here to change that through my actions, through my skill, through the things that I do, and to kind of, you know, make sure that I'm taken care of for myself and also paving the way for the future generations of women that are coming up through combat sports.
So you said MMA pays women a lot better. Is it still the same when you're a Glory champion, or is the paycheck now better than that you had or could get at Invicta?
It just depends. I think because the industry is a bit fickle with women, only certain women get certain treatment, and I think that's extremely unfair. I've been on the low end of it. You know, I feel like as a champion in, you know, in a big promotion, in a big sport, that my paycheck should be the same as the men who are the champion. But, you know, because I put in the same amount of time, my skill is the same, you know, but for some reason the women are not promoted as heavily, you know, not respected as much. And, you know, it's extremely unfair because we put in the same amount of work and have the same, if not more, skill. Future generation.
Yeah, the future
That's what I'm doing. Like these little girls, you know, they're in here doing their thing. And, you know, hopefully if they have dreams and goals of being a champion and fighting on TV and stuff, I want to make sure that they're treated fairly, because just like how I was this age, starting, putting in work, dedicating my time, my discipline, honing my skills and my craft, you know, if they decide that that's the route they want to go and make their living, I want to make sure that it's fair for them, that it's worth their while, that it was worth their time and energy, and they got everything that they need.
So did you have a role model when you started?
When I was little, I started martial arts. I really liked the Ninja Turtles. And the most famous martial artist, Bruce Lee, was also a big influence of mine while I was coming up as a teenager and in my young adulthood as well.
So Bruce Lee is the main reason you started with karate at first, because that's your base, right?
Yeah, karate is my base, but I started because of Ninja Turtles. I was a little kid watching cartoons and saw Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers around that time. Those were really popular. And so I just want to do karate like that. And it became an obsession, and it became an outlet for me. It became an obsession. It became my goals. It became my vehicle for self-expression, and also it taught me a lot of characteristics that I use in my life outside of the dojo or outside of the ring as well, such as, you know, perseverance, discipline, respect, overcoming challenges and adversity to reach a goal.
Yeah, so you already fought some Dutch fighters in Glory, but also before in your career. What do you think of Dutch fighters? Are they any different than other opponents in your career?
Yeah, the Dutch are known for being strong fighters, for having, you know, hit hard, stand in front. They can take a punch, they can give a punch. They don't really back down. And, you know, I think anybody who fights has something a little bit in them that's going to make them, you know. But the other beautiful thing about fighting is it also exposes your weaknesses, no matter who you are. So there's nothing fake about fighting. All the realness is going to come out. Everything you did do to prepare is going to come out, and everything that you didn't do to prepare is going to come out. And there's no hiding from that. And that's the beautiful thing about fighting.
Do you already have another opponent or event planned?
Hoping for May. I was given a time frame, but no set date for sure and no set opponent for sure. So I'm just doing my best to kind of start getting back into training more consistently for when that time does come, and continuing to learn new skills and sharpen up my old ones, so that way when I get the call and it's time to start preparing for the fight, I'll be ready to go.
Do you think it's possible that the winner of the fight between Anessa Maxson and Ji-won Lee is your next opponent?
I don't really care. I just want to fight.
What do you expect of the fight? Are you going to be there this Saturday?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't really planned for it. Haven't not planned for it. But like I said, I'm just working on the things that I need to do in and outside of the rings to make sure that I'm the best that I can be inside of the ring, and that that I get the respect and everything outside of the ring as well, and to be a good example to other women and other athletes, other fighters in general.
So when you are there Saturday in Utrecht, are there any fights you think it's exciting to see?
It's always exciting to watch the other girls. One, to see, you know, how they're developing, and two, to keep an eye on potential opponents.
So and beside the girls, are there any other fighters you like to see?
I think right now I'm my own favorite fighter because I'm discovering new things about myself. Like I said, I'm refining old skills and tightening up areas that need to be tightened up. And as I'm developing and improving, I'm really liking what's coming out. I'm really liking how I'm developing, how I'm changing, and how I continue to evolve. So sorry to the other fighters. I mean, I respect what you guys do, but I'm my favorite right now.
Yeah, thank you. One little question. You already said where you're going with your plan for the platform and with training and removing all the gaps you had in your old habits. But where do you see yourself in 3 years?
In 3 years? still beating people up. Don't know how, don't know where, but I continuing to train and better myself in 3 years. I can't wait to see what type of athlete, what type of fighter I'll be.
Thank you.